It's the Fall Turf Festival at Gulfstream Park West. It's our closing day event today. We have a fast main track, firm turf course. Ron Nicoletti along with Pete Aiello, our track announcer. Pete, we got 500 large in the Rainbow Six carryover guarantee in the today. $500,000 races 5 through 10.
I don't want to go on record, but I'll go on record anyway. I think it gets easily over the $500,000 mark. I think we're looking at closer to $750,000 or $1 million here this afternoon in the Rainbow Six. As you can see on your TV monitors, it's a mandatory payout here this afternoon. The Rainbow Six must go. Don't worry about the jackpot pool. It's all the jackpot pool here this afternoon, and a big jackpot it is here today.
Yeah, just to explain that a little more, if it's 5 out of 6 and you have the only one with 5, you would get the whole jackpot because, as Pete mentioned, it's mandatory payout, and we are, as we mentioned too at the top of the show, closing day here, but just next Saturday will be opening day at Gulfstream Park, the $1 million claiming crown to kick off the championship meeting, and that is a first post at 12:35 p.m.
$1 million claiming crown and the return of the voice of horse racing in North America, Mr. Larry Colmus. He threatens to be back in town by Wednesday to get ready for opening day of the Champions Meet just 8 miles east at Gulfstream Park. If you're joining us on track at Gulfstream Park West, please make your plans to join us at Gulfstream Park. Gulfstream Park West will close after today's racing program.
Well, let's take a look at our closing day card. As we mentioned, we have a fast main track, firm turf course. Our first race is 1 mile on the turf. These are claimers 3 and up, $8,000 the claiming level. Jockey on the 1 is Diego Gomez. We're going to go back and show you a race from November 5th, where a bunch of the horses in this race, actually 3 of them, finished 1, 2, 3 in this race back on, as I mentioned, November 5th.
Yeah, the interesting thing about this replay is number 8, Jupiter here, is 4 wide on the outside and can't track down Becky's Kitten. Jupiter came back to run, but he didn't run all that well because the turf course was less than firm. Jupiter likes it on a firm turf course. He gets a firm turf course here this afternoon. The question with Becky's Kitten, can he duplicate that race? He was extra game and then came back to run second behind his own beat on the main track. Becky's Kitten and Jupiter heads apart that afternoon. Back third was El Romano closing ground.
Yeah, I went with Becky's Kitten today on top of the ticket. A game turf winner, as you mentioned, on November 5th. The returns to the grass. Rallied 4 wide last time out, finished second. It was a race move to a sealed, sloppy track. Marcus Vitale had a fantastic meeting. Orlando Boca Chica as his main riding guy. So this number 6 Becky's Kitten on top of my ticket. Used the 10-horse Mr. Algebra in second, but you went with the number 2 right on top of your ticket.
Yeah, Exporter for trainer Brendan Walsh comes in here from Indiana Downs and Arlington Park. Exits a race on the main track. Draw a line through that last race. Focus your attention instead on some races in the summertime in New York and then in Chicago. This horse has a lot of tactical speed. He can use that to his advantage with an inside post. In my opinion, other than Becky's Kitten and Mr. Algebra, there's not a whole lot of speed in here. I think Exporter probably makes the lead if he wants the lead, and then Becky's Kitten and on the outside, Mr. Algebra will flank him early.
Yeah, the number 1, El Romano, I have my ticket, is a late starting top who has hit the board in 7 of 14 of his turf races here, but has yet to find the winner's circle. He's one of those horses that can close 14 starts, 3 seconds, 4 thirds. Maybe he doesn't win it, but he can certainly be on the exacta or trifecta ticket.
Yeah, he always comes running. So does the 3, Son of Sparta. There's a lot of those type of horses in this first race. Should take note that we've been talking a lot about the owner's title here at Gulfstream Park West. Well, it's sewed up here this afternoon. White Rabbit Racing has sewed up the owner's title, and so their horse, Mr. Algebra, here in race number 1 would be the proverbial cherry on top.
Well, anything else in this race as we flip the page and go to race number 2? This is a 6 furlong event. Maiden claim is fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, $8,000 in here. We're going to go back and show you a video from November 11th, and it's a horse that was cruising on a 2-length lead, but it didn't end up that way, did it, Pete?
No, Gotcha Migas. This is a beware backtrack for me. Gotcha Migas, as you touched on, Ronnie, is clear at the top of the stretch run. Mimi's Dream, who actually stopped in her race before that for Peter Walder, is going to come up the inside lane and run down Gotcha Migas at the final strides of that race. Here it comes now. Gotcha Migas getting very leg weary in the late stages. That's been her problem. She's had 11 races. She's been second 5 times, and she's just not a horse that I can rely on to win a race. She is definitely the horse to beat in here, but for me, that backtrack steers me away.
Yeah, I mean, I liked her because of the drop in competition more than, I just think the $8,000 level is where she can finally get the job done. I also used the number 2 in here, Oriental Secret, dropping to the bottom, wearing blinkers today. And this horse showed speed tired, back-to-back turf races against $12,500 types. Trainer Kathleen O'Connell, really good with first-time blinkers, about 23%. And this horse, I just think, could be on the ticket. But you did go with number 1, Valid Wildfire.
Yeah, why not try a price in this race? Valid Wildfire was 4th behind Gachi Miga since she's risky in her last race. Makes her rider switch back to Boca Chica here this afternoon. The winner of her race 2 starts back, a Fleet Alley, has just come back to run okay. However, the second horse in that race, a Magic Olivia, came back to win yesterday at Tampa to break maiden, so that race is not italicized in your racing form, but that company line is okay. Mimi's Dream last time out with Gachi Migas. I don't trust Gachi Migas. I'm looking for a viable alternative. In my opinion, that's the best viable alternative, especially at a good price.
Well, I got the 4 Princess Del Mar ticket. This one's dropping to the bottom, returning to the main track after showing early interest and fading against Better. That was on the turf. This barn has been on fire. Antonio Sano, Prentice Tyler Gaffleone, 20-1 on the morning line. I think you got to use this horse somewhere on your ticket.
Princessa Del Mar, we always talk about it. She always takes a ton of early money. I don't know if it's owner money or what it is, but if you see that the 4 horse in the second race is taking money, don't worry, she always does.
Anything else in this as we flip the page? Let's go to the third. This third race is back on the turf. It's a mile. Claim is 3 and up. Non-winners of 2 races in life, $8,000. The jockey on the 6 is Jose Valdivia. Scratch number 10, Blondiva. Also scratched the 14. Call up the Chief. Off the Gift. Number 2, back in 7 days today, Pete. Is that the way you went?
No, absolutely not. You should know that by now. I'm not a proponent of off gift. He's a teaser, if you will. He runs huge each and every time, but he never seems to seal the deal. He makes these beautiful middle moves. He's on a clear lead last time out. Looked at the 16th pole like he was home and cooled out, and then paired surge late to beat him. He always finds a way to get beat. He's a horse to use in your exotics, tries in supers, but not a horse to use on top. And as we've touched on all meet long, I'm a multi-leg guy, so the picks on your screen are horses I'll be using in today's early pick 4.
Well, he has the number 1, my Uncle Charlie will have on second on my ticket. This one has its claiming tag sliced in half. Broke from post 10 last time out, stalked the pace. Finished second. It was against $16,000 condition claimers. That was going 7.5 furlongs. Looks like a logical contender in there, especially if you don't like the short turnaround with the number 2, Off Gift.
Off Gift is a horse that looks like he's got a shot, but he doesn't really want to be on the lead, and at least not in my opinion. He's better from a stalking role. That leaves my Uncle Charlie with the inside gate and tactical speed if he wants to use it. I think he's much the best horse in this third race, and he'll be my single in the early pick 4.
Number 11, Kerf, is a horse I put on my ticket, stepping up to the next logical level after stalking early, drawing clear late to defeat $12,500 maidens. Won it rather impressively by 3.5 lengths. David Fawkes has Paco Lopez going for 2 in a row. Pretty nice combination there. I just think this horse stepping up to the next logical level might have a chance to run well in here.
It is the next logical level, unfortunately for him. I think it is a pretty decent step up in class here this afternoon. Some of these horses are battle tested, and as we touched on, dropping in class. For me, it's all about number 1, my Uncle Charlie. White Rabbit tries to just continue to pad that lead here on closing day.
Well, let's go to race number 4 today, and this one is a 6 furlong sprint. These are claimers, 2-year-olds, $20,000 the claiming level. We both have the 1, Conspiracy again. This one dropping from the $35,000 level to the $20,000 level, departing from the rail. Ideal running style. Needed to stalk what looks like a suspect early pace scenario to me in here. Yesterday, if you watched the races, the rail was not the place you wanted to be. It just seemed that the track was a little heavy, and horses that were in the paths further out ran a little bit better yesterday. But Conspiracy, again, still on paper looks like the one to beat.
Well, if you think that is a concern, the inside draw being a concern, you just have Boca Chica take a rainfall early on, tip to the outside, down the backside, get into the 2 or 3 path and go on with it. The key company line for me on Conspiracy, again, is 2 starts ago. The second place horse, Walk Away Slow, came back to win and beat Conspiracy again, who was 4th, flying on, by the way. But the winner of that race, It's Not Me, came back to win a a stake here yesterday. And that's right, $35,000 claimer came back to win a stake for White Rabbit. Did it in very, very good fashion. Sub 45 to the half mile yesterday. And off the strength of those two runs and an improving form cycle, I like the one here. Although for me, in multi-legging races, you have to spread in this race.
Well, we also used the 4 in here, upheld. This one turning back to 3/4. Pressed the pace last time out, weekend to finish 4th. That was against $35,000 optional claimers going a mile. Jorge Navarro, Georgie Navarro, Prentice Arnie, Fontanez in the saddle.
Yeah, horse makes a lot of sense here. Upheld, cuts back in distance, and looks like that's a good idea. I don't think he really wants to go long. He should trip out pretty nicely in here. The pace scenario is a little bit muddled in here, as you touched on. So I think tactically they're going to have some decisions to make to get early position in this race.
Yeah, I closed it out with the 2 Valico, and this Valico, and is dropping into a viable spot, I believe, today after following a second-place finish at the distance against $35,000 types. That was back in October. Then comes back, gets beat a couple of, double-digit lengths, but against really tough competition. I think maybe on the Drock you're going to get a little bit of a price, 20-1 on the morning line. Just one of those horses, again, that you might have on your exact or a trifecta ticket.
Well, I think you have to spread here, so if you agree with me that my Uncle Charlie's the solid single, you can afford to go a little bit deep in this race. And speaking of going deep, we'll segue into the first leg of today's Rainbow Six. It's race number 5 on the program, 7.5 furlongs over a firm turf course. In my opinion, you have to go at least 6 or 7 deep to get all the coverage here. I'm going with long shots on top. For me, my ticket's going to be top heavy. I want to get alive, I want to stay alive, and then be right in the last couple of races.
Well, let's go back and show you race number 2 from 11-13. That is November 13, and a stretch run of 3 horses that were in the race, actually in this race today, Pete.
Yeah, a lot of these horses are coming out of the same race. Double Portion is down inside. That's the 5 horse who just cut the corner in front of Our Bar Lady. Livingston's Lady's back in here. She's down inside while racing 4th. The eventual winner, Go Rontos Go, just worked off the fence there and is now going to come on and win the race. Also in this race was number 12, MZ Dancer, who's way out in the center. That's the 7, MZ Dancer. So you can see they're all within about a length and a quarter of each other at the wire here this afternoon. What do you do with horses like that? Do you play all of them? Do you go against them? I mean, how do you gauge that backtrack as far as how do you play the Rainbow Six today?
Yeah, this is a tough race. I agree with you wholeheartedly that you got to go a little deep in here. I also want to mention in here, scratch the 10, 14, 15, and 16, and blinkers on the 13. So when you're putting your ticket together, with all of that said, Pete, I did go with the number 5, Sky Blue and Black, turning back to 7.5 furlongs, rallied 4 wide, finished second. It was against this caliber of competition, going a mile in the 16th. Antonio Sano, now leading rider or close to being leader rider, is Jesus Rios in the saddle. Barn is going so great. I'm going to go with the number 5, Sky Blue and Black.
Well, she'll be favored, and she's had that role in the past, being favored at this level, and she's actually disappointed. She's a horse that seems to kind of like off-gift in the race before.
Right.
She runs really well, she gets tripped out really well, and then she finds a way to not be able to get the job done. For me, because that's the likely favorite in the race, I think this is a race you really have to spread. And by now, you know my angle in these cheap maiden races. Number 3, Cat Lucky, has not faced this caliber of competition, so I'm going to use her on top. She's coming in from Chicago. She dropped in for 7,500 last time. They liked her that afternoon. She went off 3-1 and did not run well. Now she's stretching out around 2 turns, something that she's not really had success doing, but she does have some races back in July over the turf course at Arlington against much tougher that, based on buyer figures, fit in this race here this afternoon. She's 20-1 on the morning line. They're going with Ever Argetta, the Bug Rider, here this afternoon, and the barn and Christine Jenks has been firing very, very well with all horses in all categories. For me, you have to go deep here. You try to beat Sky Blue and Black. You use her to get alive. But for me, it's all about long shots in race 5.
Yeah, you also have the 12 in the MZ Dancer, who's 15-1, I believe, on the morning line with Apprentice Arnie Fontanez. I used the 7 in second. Shiloh hoping they'll get a clean trip after shipping down from New York to face $16,000 maidens. Got pushed out on the first turn, then recovered to finish 5th, beaten 2.5 lengths. Was the favorite. It was at that 7.5 for furlong distance, one of those horses in that race.
It was the same backtrack we showed you. There were so many horses coming out of that race, we didn't have time to highlight them all. Number 12, MZ Dancer, also comes out of that race, finished 6th. pretty much on equal terms with number 7, Shiloh. That was my logic. Here's Shiloh, 7-2 on the morning line with Edgard Zayas riding. MZ Dancer on equal terms. They both had trouble last time, and MZ Dancer is going to be about 3 times the number. I think this is a race in the Rainbow Six. It's going to make it or break the sequence early. If Sky Blue and Black wins, everybody's alive, and you just hope to get a nice payoff with the force out. But if you really want to take a stand and blow out some tickets, this is the race I think you do it in.
Yeah, we both had the number 9 Divine Doll in there. I think a horse coming off the layoff for Henry Colazzo's about 18% with horses coming off the layoff, Pete.
Absolutely.
So we're going deep in the first leg of the Rainbow Six. We figured that out. We had a whole bunch of different picks up there. You could see it. Let's go to the second leg, and this is 5.5 furlongs. Claim is 3 and up. Non-winners of 2 races in life, $6,250. Scratch the 10, Party in the Sky. Also scratch the other. I think the also eligibles are out in here. No, there's no also. That's next the late race before. Number 10, Party in the Sky, out of this race. I went with the 4, Secret Ops. I'll tell you that. And then you went with the 3, who I have in second. Secret Ops going to face 2 lifetime competition on the dirt. Use this speed to defeat $12,500 maidens going 5 furlongs on the turf. George Navarro, 33%. Horses going from the grass to the dirt. Has Eduardo Nunez going for 2 in a row. So number 4, Secret Ops on top of my ticket. But I got to have number 3, Gino and the Jets.
Well, you missed one very important item about number 4, Secret Ops. Again, this is not in your racing form. The second place horse that afternoon, Dreaming of Pete, came back to win on Friday going long against maidens. So that flattered Secret Ops' victory. I don't know, Ronnie, if you can see it on my racing form. There's a giant X over Secret Ops. I don't like him here. If he wins, I'm going to be out of the Rainbow Six. He's taking an aggressive drop in class. I understand that. I think he's going to fire, but I don't think the dirt is his preferred surface, and there's just too much of a contender in this race with Gino and the Jets and Little Baker. There's viable alternatives, and I'm going to try to beat the favorites where I can and go for a massive Rainbow Six.
Well, Little Baker, really, Pete, couldn't have been more impressive when setting the pace and drawing clear as the odds-on choice. He defeated $8,000 maidens. He won that race by more than 5 lengths. Carlo Vacareza, Edgar Prado going for 2 in a row. I think that's a horse you have to have on your ticket.
I think so, too. I marked in my racing form to go too deep in here. They're my top 2. Gino and the Jets, the distance is a concern for me. He cuts back to 5.5 after breaking his maiden in impressive fashion at 7/8. Second start of the form cycle for Chase and Service coming in from Monmouth Park off that freshening. He's well spotted here. I hope he has enough tactical speed to get in position early. If he does, I think he's the horse to beat because I think he'll get first run on Secret Ops, who I think will be getting a little tired in the late stages because not only has he not proven to be a dirt horse, he's also not been able to prove his speed at 5.5.
So we got 7 on your ticket and 2 in this one. 7 in the first leg and 2.
Yep.
We're keeping track here. Okay, let's go to the 7th race, a mile and the 16th. This is turf. Claim is 3 and up. Non-winners of 3 in life, $8,000. Scratch the 7 and the 14. The jockey on the 2 is Paco Lopez, and we're going to show you a backtrack from November 16th. And it's a stretch run where a lot of horses in this race come out of that race, similar to the replay we just showed you a little while ago.
Absolutely. You have So Cozy. Leighton Fire draws in, so he's in. He's the 2 horse down inside. So Cozy in the yellow color swinging way wide. And there was a couple of horses in here as well. This race, again, what do you do with this race? Draw your own conclusions. That's Leighton Fire who takes over. Farley's Mandate down the outside. He's going to get up and win the race. Dragon Tail is the 5 horse today. He's the 9 down inside making ground. And you also have a horse in between horses in No Calcetinas who ran pretty well. They're all about within the neck or so of each other at some point during the summer. You know, maybe not in that race, but these horses all run against each other. So again, if you have horses, this is just my opinion, but if you have a race that's so evenly balanced and you're looking at it from a Rainbow Six standpoint, why would you take a horse at 3-1 when you can get a horse at 15-1 that have been running against these same horses all summer long?
With that said, here's my single right here in this
Really?
race on my ticket. That's the 10, Keep It Pithy, was also my best bet of the afternoon on the program. Stepping up to the next level, stalked early, drew clear late to defeat a field of $12,500 2 lifetime claimers that included the second place finisher and our third race participant today, Arth Giff, and I think he used that race as a handicapping guide. I like this horse today. I just think that the competition he's facing, now the number 13 gets in the race today, might have to think about that. I threw it on the ticket, but when I put my Rainbow Six ticket together, this is the horse I singled. I had a single one, so it was number 10, Keep It Pithy.
For the record, I have a single. We'll get to that in a minute. I don't really argue if you want a single, Keep It Pithy. Just for me, this race was a little too evenly matched to try to take a stand. I used the 6, So Cozy, on top. You saw his last backtrack. He was wide and couldn't make ground at a lot of those horses. He was a good second behind Mr. Algebra on the turf 2 starts ago. Mr. Algebra was an odds-on winner. 3 starts ago, he's losing to All Star, who ran in this year's Florida Derby and had subsequently dropped in class for Marcus Vitale. And then now we get into the interesting part. We're over the Gulfstream Park East turf course for race 4 and 5 back. It really wasn't that long ago. We're only talking about August. He's a 3-length winner over Legacy of Honor, who comes back to win. They put him in against non-winners at 2 under this jockey, Santiago Gonzalez. He wins by 4 in the best race of his life and beats Osaka Joe, who comes back to win. Plausibly's third came back to win at this meeting. So Cozy has some form that really dopes him out as a contender here. And again, I think he'll be forgot about to a degree on the tote board in a wide open race number 7.
Single
6. No, 7, yeah.
Race 7. Oh, I want to mention, as I did, 13 does get in late and fire. He gets in off the A's. He ran second, was beaten only in neck against Similar going a mile. So when you put your ticket together, don't forget to check out those also eligibles that might have gotten into the race.
I'm 4 deep here, by the way.
Right.
3, 6, 8, 10.
3, 6, 8, and 10. I got my single leg. You'll see my ticket a little later on. So mark down Pete's because his ticket won't be shown later on. We'll just talk about it as the day progresses to see if Pete's still alive.
Here's my single.
Okay. 5.5 furlongs. Claim is Fillies and Mares, 3 and up. Non-winners of 2 live. $6,250. And Pete's single is the number 9, Vaguely Distinctive. And I am in agreement. I'm not going to single. I went too deep in this part, but I can understand why you singled the number 9, Vaguely Distinctive.
Well, for me, this is always a very good rudimentary thing to do when you're handicapping a race. You find the morning line favorite and or the horse to beat in the race, and then immediately take a look at the competition, because that's exactly how I handicap. I figure out who's going to be favored, and then can I beat that favorite? Well, when I consider that the second choice in the morning line and the horse that looks like the second best horse in the race is Nora in the Sky, and I look at her form, including an odds-on defeat, a no-excuse odds-on defeat at 4 to 5 against this level of competition, why would I try to beat Vaguely Distinctive? She has a lot of upside. She was second last time out. She's taking a huge class drop here this afternoon. She is definitely one of, if not the fastest horse early in here. She has Paco Lopez for a hot outfit. They're going to try to win races here this afternoon, and I think that she is the solid single just based on the fact that some of these other races are tough, and she does look to be the best horse in here. Your viable alternatives are horses that I would be weary of including.
Well, Vaguely Distinctive, last race, second, responded to the re-addition of blinkers in there. Nora in the Sky, someone you got to have on your ticket just because of the connections. Mike Maker, Edgar Prado, atop the daughter of Sky Mason. But its form, as Pete mentioned, is a little shaky. I closed it out with the 5 American Proud, turning back just a little bit after returning from a 6-month layoff to run a stamina tweaking, performance at a mile and got beat 1 1/4 lengths against Similar, going 6 furlongs, was in the slop. Second off the bench. Maybe this horse could be somewhere on the ticket at, a little bit of a price, 6 to 1, I believe, on the morning line.
Vaguely Distinctive or bust. If you're Paco, you're sending as hard as you can send, clear to the field, and then bid him a good afternoon. I think that's the move here. She's the best horse. Take it to him early, and then you'll get dividends late.
Well, let's go right to the 9th, a mile and the 16th. Allowance optional, claim it 3 and up. Claiming price $62,500. Scratch the 1, scratch the 4. The main track only will be out. I did not get that yet, but Pete will update you in just a couple of minutes. I went with the 12 Heiko. Departs from the outside post today after a productive return from the freshening, which he set the pace, finished second at this level. And Marty Wilson, Edgar Zayas, speed from the outside, tactical speed. I just threw number 12 Heiko on top of my ticket.
Yeah, I'm 3 deep here. The 3 on your screen. The number 3 Shock Leader went favored, or actually was favored in progress, and then they ended up second choice. Lost to Heiko and El Jefe Grande. Didn't have the most optimum pace scenario or trip that afternoon. Should be better second start since coming in from New York. The 7 Mucho Mas Macho is a grade 2 winner who hasn't been seen since February. He's been known to fire well fresh. In fact, his best win in the Fort Lauderdale was was off a bit of a freshening, not off an extended layoff like this, but you know he can fire fresh. And as Mike Welsh of the Daily Racing Form touched on in his article today, this is the make it or break it race.
Well, let's go right to the 10th race. So you have about a minute left. Mile, claim is 3 and up. Non-winners of 2 or 3-year-olds, 30 down to 25. Got a video we're going to show you real quick. It's the stretch run. One of these races, too, Pete, where everybody just comes into the race and going to knock heads again together today.
Yeah, Imagine That Mom and Rackham Earl are going to be the top two here. That's Rackham Earl in the black colors, about 10 wide on the outside. And Rackham Earl is going to come down the center and run down Ex-Pirate, who was favored. He's a stakes winner, by the way. Imagine That Mom is the gray just off his inside. Going to come on to take the lead, but not for long because Rackham Earl comes over the top. Wins very, very easily. In my opinion, he won with something in reserve. In this race, I think you use those two, Rackham Earl and the number 3 today, Imagine That Mom, if you can afford to do that. If you have to take another stand, I'm okay with singling Rackham Earl. I think he's going to be better, if not the same as he was last time. That will be good enough here, in my opinion.
Well, I went with the 10 Empire Maker in the race, so we'll see how this thing plays out. Good luck with your Rainbow Six tickets this afternoon. I've got some wind here, lost a couple of my pages, but everything seems to be okay. Pete, absolute pleasure doing it with you during the media. It's been a lot of fun. I don't want to know who you're going to pick on down in Hialeah now that you don't have me to knock around.
Well, I guess I'll just have to find somebody. But, yeah, I'm headed down south. Everyone else is going 8 miles east. I'm headed 11 miles south.
Good luck on your Rainbow Six today.